I think we got a pretty good record here. You want to put it out? And he says, yeah, Bob, let's do that. So we put it out, and next thing you know, it's being very well received. So then we put out a second release and a third release. So the first release, Traveling the Dirt Road, that was really just a kind of fun release. And then we ended up, we were both in Memphis for the Blues Music Awards. We went just outside of Memphis to Walls, Mississippi, just a little bit past the Tennessee state line on the way to Tunica. And we went. Dave knew about this dirt road, so we took some photos there. Then Lucky to Be Living, Dave kind of did a tribute to Frank Frost in that. I think we covered 3 of his songs, and that was a kind of second release, took us to another place. And then we did the last record that we've done together, Hush Your Fuss, which was really basically mainly a songwriting record. I think there's 1 or 2 covers in there, and that's about it. And Dave and I wrote a bunch of songs together, so I got to explore my songwriting in there. Actually, I wrote 2 songs on my own. Dave wrote some on his own, but there's a number of songs that we wrote together where I'd come up with an idea, or Dave would, and we'd develop it into a song. We'd have a groove, we'd have a hook, and Dave is such a poet in the way he does some things. So we've been able to make some really fun songs, and it keeps growing from there. So Dave does live in Phoenix a good part of the year. He lives about 5 minutes away from me, and so if he's got a song he wants to work on, he can come right over. I have my guitar right here, and he's ready to go. So it's been one of those real joyous things that have happened in my life to have Dave Riley in it. And again, Dave is a gruff country boy, so there's times that we don't always see eye to eye, but in the end, when we get together to play blues, everything is right.
All the bright lights in the building got the best of me. All the bright lights in big buildings, y'all, just as far as you can see. You can take me out the country, but can't take the country out of me. Oh yeah, just can't do it, man. Damn right.
Damn right. Got the blues. You're listening to Blues America. Blues America.
Let's go back to talking about Bob Corritore, the solo artist, which is interesting because although you're comfortable being that role as a sideman, your name is on the album and you've really created a Bob Corritore sound and a brand. And I'm holding right now the Harmonica Blues album, and it's somewhat of a who's who of blues artists featuring Coco Taylor, Little Milton, Pinetop Perkins, Henry Gray, and on and on.
That record was 20 years in the making. The very first session was done 20 years before the last session, and so that was a collection of some of the best parts of my life, and the lineup is pretty amazing. If you think about Little Milton, Coco Taylor, Nappy Brown, Robert Lockwood, got our Phoenix guys in there, Big Pete Pearson and Chief Shibute Guillaume, Dave Riley is in there, Chico Chisholm plays drums on a bunch of things. My dear friend Louisiana Red is on there.
Bob Margolin.
Yes, Bob Margolin. There's all sorts of great artists on that, and Carol Fran is on there, and so many great artists. So just very proud of that. And of course, the Coco Taylor track is really a jewel. That was my pleasure to be able to make that record with her. I had known Coco for years. Used to see her play all the time in the 70s. Used to be a big fan of hers, and sometimes would sit with her and Pops, her husband, during the breaks over at her shows. So it was a joy to be able to finally, get in the studio and make a really wonderful record with her. So, and Coco really loved the song too, which was really nice. She sent me a beautiful letter about that. Anyway, that record came out, and it had so many of the heroes of the blues. Honey Boy Edwards is another name that was on there. That I think it was kind of undeniable. It won the Historic Blues Record of the Year. It got a WC handy award. Actually, it was at that point called the Blues Music Award a few years back, and really proud of that. So it's nice to stand up on that podium holding that statue and say thank you and say I wish that some of the people on this record were still around to enjoy this, but it was really an achievement. So I'm very proud of that record, and it really is a cross section of so many of the relationships I've had in the blues.
This way. Hey, hey! I like it. I like it this way. I like it. I like it. I like it this way. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like it this way. What kind of man is this that keeps me on the ball? What kind of man is this? He answers every time I call. Anytime, I don't care. It makes no difference if my baby is bad. If I'm wrong, it's my mistake. Hey, I like it this way.
In more the traditional sense of a solo artist, you've released Taboo, which is an instrumental blues harp album that finds a fresh way to merge West Coast with Chicago blues.
Taboo is a very proud project. I'm really happy with the way that turned out, and it was something that I had thought about for a long, long time because I've always enjoyed the art of an instrumental. Now, you don't want to have an instrumental that is basically a song that should have a vocal in it, but without the vocal, you want to have something that has a melody, it has a groove, it has a mood to it. So that's how I approached this project, and I put some of the most inventive artists around me. Junior Watson plays the majority of the guitar. Steve Ray Vaughan's brother, Jimmy Vaughn, plays on a couple tracks. We were able to add him on after the majority of the record was recorded and do a separate session that also had Papa John DeFrancesco. Fred Kaplan, who was just a huge support. I had heard his record that he had put out, an all-instrumental record, and it was a big inspiration for mine. These guys, Richard Innes, the amazing drummer who we just recently lost, plays some fantastic drums on this. But more than anything else, I really woodshedded for this one for about a half a year. I came up with all these ideas. I tried to think of what would make for a good instrumental.
Travel. More Blues America next week. More blues on our Facebook and Twitter.
This is your source for blues talk, a little blues show from Arizona, Blues America. I'm in charge of this mess, your blues junkman and humble host, Drew Verbis. Here's what you need to know. Our website is bluesamerica.com, which has links to our Facebook and Twitter and information about today's programming, including full playset. Additionally, show your blues pride by purchasing an exclusive and vintage Blues America t-shirt for a limited time only. Your contribution may just help to keep the lights on. Email any requests or complaints to our backdoor office at bluesamerica@gmail.com. And if you like what you hear today, country bluesman Dave Riley will be featured on next week's program. You're listening to Blues America. I'm that guy, Drew Verbis.
Blues America. America. Now that's some home cooking.
Blues America.
Don't want to miss more of my candid interview with special guest Bob Corritore coming up on the second half of today's show. The Blues Top of the Hour Top 5 is coming up after the break. I'm Drew Verbis, and you're listening to Blues America.
Keep it here, baby. Blues America. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to The Dog Show. Up next, we have Satchmo. Satchmo is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right, a group known especially for their couch-snuggling, ball-chasing, face-licking, tail-wagging, backyard-hanging, and, of course, companionship.
And what breed would you say Satchmo is?
I'd have to go with maybe a lavish terrier-hound chihuahua-looking kind of mix.
Tremendous dog.
I'd also like to point out Satchmo's coloring, a white, grey, brown, black brindle, simply marvelous.
You know, it's such a treat to watch a dog like this.
Now, let's see him in action.
Look how he makes eye contact with his person.
That's actually known as the treat stare.
How intuitive. And now he appears to be excitedly turning in circles.
Ah, the happy dance, so common with this group.
And finally, the loving face flick.
It's great how he just gets in there and, well, licks.
Fantastic. But really, the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Satchmo is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
This is AFN Pacific Radio Report. I'm Petty Officer James Mitchell. A second Marine has died of injuries sustained in the MV-22 Osprey crash that happened during a routine training mission in Hawaii Sunday. 21-year-old Lance Corporal Matthew Detterman of Maricopa, Arizona, was a rifleman assigned to Camp Pendleton's 3rd Battalion in California. 15th Marine Expeditionary Unit Commanding Officer Colonel Vance Cryer spoke on the death, saying, "Our country and our Corps are poorer for his loss, but his example will continue to inspire us." 2 additional Marines remain hospitalized in stable condition. Commander of Joint Task Force 505, Lieutenant General John Whistler, issued remarks at a press conference in Kathmandu Wednesday. Whistler referenced USS Ambassador Peter Bodie's announcement that JTF 505 participation in Nepal relief efforts has concluded. The announcement comes one day after Nepal transitioned from relief operations to the recovery phase of disaster response.
It has been an honor and a privilege to partner with the Nepalese Army, the U.S. Embassy, USAID, and the international community. Together we have overcome countless challenges in the wake of this tragic series of earthquakes, and your partnership has strengthened our resolve. Joint Task Force 505 leaves Nepal proud of our service and honored to call the people of Nepal our friends. And even though we will depart, we will continue to stand with Nepal.
During the operation, JTF 505 delivered 114 tons of emergency relief supplies, transported 534 personnel, and evacuated 63 casualties. This has been your AFN Pacific Radio Report.
Sergeant Nathaniel Phillips, Soldiers Radio News.